Let's have a quick go at the power lets. My new method, not my new method, but keeping my legs straight and a wide grip. Not too. Yes, go nice wide grip. Enough bar.
This is usually more of a process problem than it is a technical issue. You have to constantly make sure you stay on top of. This is one where there might be an account that really isn't used for anything. Maybe it was set up originally for a particular use, but is now no longer used. So of course you should make sure that those accounts are either disabled or that they're deleted from your systems. There might be a number of accounts that have administrative access that probably should not have administrative access. In fact, there should be very few accounts that have that level of power in your systems. So you should make sure that all of your accounts have exactly the amount of access they need to perform those functions. And nobody should be able to log in as an administrator
get a pair of socks.
If your organization doesn't have a set of checks and balances to be able to handle your most significant business processes, bad guys may be able to take advantage of that. A good example is with something called SWIFT. This is the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. It's a way that banks can electronically send payments to each other. Well, in February of 2016, in Bangladesh Bank, malware was used to steal the credentials used for these transactions. The hackers, though, misspelled the word foundation and instead spelled it fundation. And this caught the eye of someone who thought something may not be quite right here. Although not $1 million was ultimately not stolen, they did pay
use it in a sec.
And so had to completely redesign.
Change it over. Let's do an exercise normally safe till the end. Okay, pull-ups, or chin-ups, with a tuck.
The problem is that some cipher suites are easier to crack than others. Make sure that you're using the strongest ones and that you're staying updated so that you're able to avoid any vulnerabilities. One of those common cipher suites is TLS, or SSL, we use on our web servers. There are over 300 different combinations of these that make up these 300 suites for TLS. Well, the challenge of a security professional then is to figure out which ones are good and which ones are bad. You should, of course, avoid anything that's a weak or null encryption, anything that might be less than 128 bits, for example. And make sure you're using the latest hashing technologies. Don't use some like MD.
Hasn't got hair in your chest. I don't know what will.
Are executing in memory. So if we can manipulate the memory, we should be able to manipulate the application. One type of memory vulnerability is a memory leak. This is when memory is allocated during the execution of a program, and it is never unallocated when it's finished being used. And as you use more and more of the application,
okay.
you continue to use more and more.
So I've done underhand, overhand, pull up.
Work crashes the computer is running. Another type of memory vulnerability is integer overflow. This is when you're trying to put a very large number into a place that has a very small allocated space. The question is, what happens to that extra number, and how does it affect the execution of that application? Does it allow people to use the system, or to inside of that system? This is what the bad guys are looking for. Manipulate that memory to gain them an advantage inside that system. Another type of vulnerability that's very similar to integer overflow is a buffer overflow. This is when a certain amount of space has been allocated to store variables in an application, and this application allows you to store a variable that's larger than that allocated space. It spills over into other memory areas and potentially allows more access to the system than normally available. Another type of vulnerability in memory that usually causes the application to crash or deny service is a null clear dereference. This is where the programmer is dereferencing a portion of memory to the application, except in this case, there's nothing at that memory address to dereference.
So the socks come on.
Another type of vulnerability that you commonly see in an operating system is a DLL injection. These are libraries used by applications, and the bad guys will put their own libraries in place so that when the application references the library, they're effectively referencing the bad guy's code. Today's virtual environments allow us to create a workstation, server, or any type of other system just to a mouse. Instantly, we have a new service running, and instead of having to wait to get physical devices in and set up in a rack, we can simply click a few buttons, and we've got an entire infrastructure. As you can imagine, in those environments,
Do a handstand.
instantly, it can be very difficult to keep track of all of these operating systems that are running in your environment. Of course, from a security perspective, we have to make sure that all of our systems are updated to the latest security patches, so you also have to keep track of where all of these virtual systems are. Not only have to keep track of our virtual systems, but we also have to keep track of our physical systems. Environments where we have machines that are laptops, mobile devices, and even machines under somebody's desk, we've got to make sure that
I'll do more than that on that side, and then I'll do the front part, do hip, shoulders, and a little bit of chest.
Connection is coming in, you have VPN connectivity, there's third parties that are allowed access into your network, and you have to think about the front door and the conference rooms because there are network connections there that could be used for malicious purposes. Security when the next zero-day attack is going to happen. It's what we don't know about vulnerabilities in our operating systems and our applications that can really come back to bite us. There are some vulnerabilities that have been sitting there in these versions of software for years, and then suddenly someone will find them and begin exploiting those vulnerabilities. Normally, we're finding those when we're patching them quickly, but it's when we either don't patch a system or we don't patch it fast enough where we really get burned by its version. A good example of this was with WannaCry, a very popular ransomware that hit on May 12th of 2017. This is something that took the world by storm. Thousands of systems infected with WannaCry, but the patch for this has been available since March of 2014.
That's what I'm prepared to do.
Roll these patches out, some people were not protected, and the bad guys were able to
Don't mess with my shoulder. And then do a tuck. Here's what a tuck. Planche else here. Let's check.
Is there a formal process to manage all this? If you're somebody just starting out, you'll want to think about what the certificate authority is going to be, what software is going to run that certificate authority, and what structure will it have in your organization. How will you protect the keys and the content on those certificate authorities, and how will you create and manage intermediate certificate authorities to use in your organization? Will there be a formal process to create, validate, and sign the certificate of
Okay.
organization? And what will that process look like? There will be a formal process for that.
Let's try the plant,
Other questions about
but it's unlikely.
these out in your organization.
Having something that's hard.
Technology and firewall. We use it everywhere.
Let's go back into it.
We use it at home. We use it in our offices. It seems to be everywhere we're connected to the internet. We're using firewall. And why not? To use control to prevent bad traffic from coming to the inside of your network. In some cases, to keep bad traffic from coming to
Even a half plant.
the organization that needs
It's hard.
to control this traffic flow.
Because you've got
We've got firewall in place.
the abs are tense.
Sense for you.
It makes it hard to breathe.
Also control the
But it's just a
traffic
skill.
that's going back and forth.
And it just takes time.
But what is inside the content that you're sending to that other device? And some firewalls will even let you filter bad traffic. You can have the firewall prevent viruses, malware, adverse spyware from coming into your environment and infecting your systems. Traditional network-based firewalls filter traffic by TCP or UDP port number. That's OSI layer 4, the transport layer of the OSI stack. Although these days, next-generation firewalls and modern technologies allow us to filter based on the application. It allows us to filter all the way up to OSI
Okay.
layer 7.
Let's just do regular tucks.
VPN controllers. They're very often used as the endpoint to a VPN that's connected to a remote site. And some firewalls even have proxy capabilities built into them to manage traffic flows by application. And most commonly on network-based firewalls are layer 3 devices.
I don't do any press-ups
Inside your network,
at all.
very often will perform
I don't do.
press translation.
I don't really do any upper body with my feet hit the ground.
Stateless firewall as
Because what's the point?
it doesn't keep track of
Look at it, easy on yourself, yo.
It's simply looking at the
Make it
traffic
hard on yourself.
into a list of access controls.
Don't make it easy.
Allowing or disallowing that traffic.
Ah.
An example is Jack, who's communicating to this web server. Because he's communicating through a stateless firewall, we not only need rules to allow the outbound traffic, we also need rules to allow the inbound traffic as well. See, Jack's IP address is 10.1.1.1, and rule 1 says that if the
And then
is 10.1.1.1 communicating to 10.10.
start to the sit ones.
Over TCP port 80 to allow that traffic. But because this is stateless, we also need a rule in the other direction that will allow traffic from the web server to communicate back to Jack over any TCP port number. So when Jack sends that traffic, just check against that rule base. If it matches any of those rules, it's allowed through. When the traffic comes back the other direction from the web server, the rule base has to be checked again. And as long as a rule is in place, this stateless firewall will allow that traffic to flow. Stateful firewalls are they can allow traffic flows to be built
They're hard.
track of what traffic flows.
Quickly while I'm here.
Allow that traffic to pass through the firewall. You can see
Do some abs.
access control is a little bit different. We only have a single rule that allows Jack
Real quick.
investigation.
Real quick.
When you web traffic going to the server, traffic passes through the firewall.
Ugh.
Note of this active
Just
session,
dance the abs.
addresses and the source and the destination. When the server replies to that traffic within the same traffic flow, the firewall checks to determine that that traffic is currently allowed and continues that traffic.
Only down.
If there was traffic that came from the web server to Jack that was not part of those active flows, the firewall would recognize that it was part of the session table. And
I've had a bit of food
firewall.
for this workout. So just went on some 2.5 hour walk. So you got a bit of food in your stomach, but abs that much harder. Okay. Always make excuses.
Active inspection, next generation firewalls. But the key is that these devices are watching traffic at the packet level and examining the data that's within all of these packets. They're able to do a decode of that information and determine what application is flowing within those data frames. This means that the firewall can look at traffic and determine immediately if that's traffic from Microsoft SQL, if that's Twitter traffic, if that's going to Facebook, and it might have thousands of different applications that are recognized. We also see this application level visibility helping for modern intrusion prevention systems. If an IP has can identify the application that's in use, and it can use the subset of signatures and become more focused in finding vulnerabilities for a particular application. This also keeps down the number of false positives that you might get from an IDS. And a host-based firewall is on an operating system.
Other side.
Applications are using, and you can define rules within
9 reps.
firewall to allow or disallow specific executables from communicating across the network. Firewalls determine whether traffic is allowed or not allowed through the firewall based on a series of rules. Access control lists, you might also see them referred to as security policies. Normally they are a group of variables that you compare against the traffic going by and make a determination on whether that traffic is allowed or not. Sometimes you'll see this grouping of variables as tuples. An example of a tuple might be a source IP address, a destination IP address, the time of day, port number that's in use, or anything else that firewall can use to start comparing the different characteristics of traffic. Firewall rule lists are usually exactly at the top of the list and down to the bottom. Firewall will look at the first rule to see if anything matches.
Is that part done?